renowned structural consultant from the city of Mumbai, and he is the pioneer and owner of Rajesh Structural Consultants. He's an alumni of Sardar Patel College of Engineering, after which he had gone on to do his Masters in Structures from EJTI, and later on he obtained his PhD in Concrete Technology and Structural Engineering from IIT Bombay. Dr. Raje has around 25 years of experience in structural designing, imbibed by the rare qualities of values and workmanship. Dr. Raje has built up an enviable association with clients Reliance Industries, Tata Group, Larsen & Toubro, HDIL, and also the Government of India. His overseas endeavors include fruitful associations with Artec Engineers and Toyo Engineering Limited. Please welcome Dr. Raje to deliver a lecture on high-rise structure.
Yeah, good afternoon. Number one is that I am doubtful whether you will be able to listen to me, because already that particular volume is still binding in the ears. So you have to excuse me for the same. I'll try my level best. Actually, basically, when I'm going to talk to you about the high-rise structures, what I observe is that there is a mixed crowd. Maybe architects, maybe engineers, maybe from the construction people. Maybe from the construction side, maybe from the repair side. When I was asked to put a topic, because there was no definite topic that was given to me, I was in a little bit confused state, because my domain is starting from small structures to multi-structure towers. Apart from that, my domain is non-destructive testing as well as repairs and rehabilitation of normal residential buildings, of corporate structures or government large structures where they are affected to fires or other calamities. I am taking this particular high-rise structures because it has got a combination of what problems are faced in the redevelopment process that is happening in Bombay. Today what has happened in the high-rise structures of redevelopment, naturally when you get an extra FSI, the area, first constraint is the area. That means it's a very small area and you want to go vertically up. Secondly, the old building which is carrying on the ground floor shops, hotels, they insist that their open face should not have any single column in that. Now you want to construct a story of about 70 stories and you don't want to have columns. Something very difficult. So here is one of the structures that I had faced and still I am facing, because this structure is a redevelopment structure of about 180 members at Shivaji Park, behind the Shiv Sena Bhavan, where the patra is still there and no work is yet carried out. What is the problem? The problem that we have been facing is that when we designed the structure first, it had two wings, the ground floor plus 16 and upper floors, having a total vertical height of 240 meters and a sale building having about 45 floors. As I told you, the structural configuration was a major hurdle. When we designed particular structure, there was a foreign architect that was involved in this particular structure. And when he sent the drawings from there, what we observed is that there were only 4 columns there were internally and all the vertical columns were totally floating. Now imagine a building of 70 stories, hardly 4 columns in the lower area and rest of the columns all floating. What will happen during earthquake? The whole system will start dancing immediately. So that was the first problem. The second problem was what? Geotechnical investigation. The unfortunate part today in the geotechnical investigation is that you start getting cut-paste reports. The bearing capacity, the data that has been given to you, all confuses you. We were given allowable end bearing for 300 ton per meter square. Skin friction was given 15 ton per meter square. Settlement was given and the socket length was given. On this particular basis, after discussing with the architect, foreign architect, that it is difficult for me to design a building of this type and I am ready to quit the job. So he said, no, I am coming back, I am coming to India and will sit. The biggest attitude that was a positive approach from him was that when we discussed with him, When we discussed with him that, sir, how can I get all my columns floating over here? How? Then he said, no, I have already constructed in this country, in that country, in so many foreign countries. So we said, okay, you give us any example, let us go over there, see it. If you really have constructed it, then something is wrong with me. But then after about half an hour, he says, no, sir, we have not constructed this, but we are daring it in India. Coming from foreign, daring it in India. So when they were to dare this, I said, in that case, if you are daring it, sir, our life will be in miserable condition. So let us, why not sit together? Approach was very positive. Because what we do is that when we sit with the architects, we have a lot of restrictions. We want to design as per their artistic views and all these things, but we are so much restricted to our structural designing that if you are not ready to do, sir, other consultant is ready to do. That is how they start putting in front of us. This foreign architect, particular person, he said, no, I am ready to sit with you. And after sitting over there, we came up with a configuration document. So imagine this area, this is the Shivaji Park area, and this is a particular zone. The worst zone is that this is the Sena Tower over here, this is the Kohinoor Tower over here, and in this particular part of it, you have to construct a building. The slenderness ratio of this particular building was somewhere around 14. Therefore, if you see the main picture, it is like a coconut tree. Literally like a coconut tree. And just imagine, if I talk in very local language, when the wind pressure is there, what will happen to your coconut tree? It will start swaying in both the directions. And this is exactly what was happening to this particular structure. So when we observed that there was a major sway in this particular structure, it is he who gave me the idea, why don't you go for outriggers? So this is the first concept that he put forward to us, and this concept we studied absolutely, and we came with the concept of outriggers. So in the main core, after having the main core, we placed the outriggers. The idea for the outriggers was that they transfer the load in the axial form to the end columns, and therefore the sway is reduced. So that is how he helped us, and we also accepted that help. I will be explaining to you what is that actually the sway part and the outrigger part. So before that, just let us run through this. See, what we did is that we designed this particular structure for gravity loads, earthquake loads, wind loads. Then these are the various conditions that we have accepted. This was the total loading that were taken into consideration. This was the earthquake zone factor that we had taken into consideration. This was the velocity of the wind that was taken into consideration. And you now come to the structure. You just see this is a structure. And this structure is 70 stories. Imagine this dimension, the least lateral dimension to the vertical height. Just imagine the slenderness ratio. And initially, there were only 2 or 4 columns and rest of the things was floating. Now if you see this particular structure, after sitting with him, see how beautifully he has brought into picture. He brought all these shear walls. And in the front side, because shops were there, at the end we have placed 2 main columns, and then there was a clear-cut frontage opening. So this frontage opening was easily gathered by us, and then that is how we maintained this particular structure. Now when we maintain this structure, if you see this particular structural configuration in the whole structure, the main walls, these are the main walls that are going right up to the top particular level. We had these about 450 to 600 thickness walls. Initially, this design was complete, sent to the high-rise committee, accepted. But let us see what happened afterwards. So this is a particular E-type model of that. You can imagine how that coconut tree is standing over there. Next. This is the sail building. Sail building had little bit stiffness also. Now let us see this particular structure. What I mean to say is that when we have this type of slender structures, if you start having torsional motion of this particular nature, the building is going to definitely collapse. So look at this particular structure. When we had certain columns configuration, this literally twist. This will literally twist. So what we did is that, this was the outrigger system that was, what is an outrigger? Basically, if you see a boat and if there are waves in this particular part of it, the boatman has got 2 sides supports. What he does is that he takes one support, he takes the second support, and then he passes that particular load axially. Same configuration has been done in this particular high-rise tower. These are the configurations for these particular systems. How the load and the movements are transferred has been explained over here. So what we did is that we had the outrigger on the 20th floor and 21st floor, and we had outrigger on 40th and 41st floor. Now when we had this particular system, click करून बंद नहीं करेगा. So what I had done is that I had done simulation of this. So the previous model was twisting like this, and when I did this outriggers over here, the model started having lateral sways, and this particular lateral sways were controlled with the maximum deflection of about 200 millimeter. So these were controlled to maximum of about 200 millimeter. So this was completed, the structure was accepted. When we accepted this structure, these were the two systems. We had to explain to the commissioner, that time's commissioner, that how this outrigger, because basically when we thought about outriggers, there were two stories. Because there were two stories, the first question came in the mind of the commissioner is that they will misuse it. And they will again occupy that particular area. So we had to explain him, all these explanations was given him how the actual motion takes place, and X type and K type of trusses were placed over there. Then with his idea, what we did is that we put additional diaphragms. So at 1.8 meters we put additional diaphragms so that the using it for some other purposes next to impossible. That is what we carried out. You can see these K-type trusses for the outriggers. So this was the main structure now. Forget about this particular part of the structure, but this was the main structure. This was totally accepted. The work was to start. So before starting the work, you can see the models now again. And these are the outrigger systems. The systems have been utilized in Al-Burj, K-type, X-type. And this was the maximum deflection that was there. Now you can see 295, and the deflection in the wind was 399, and which was far less than the permissible. Previously the deflections were of so large nature that in the top floors, when the wind actually starts, it is quite possible that from your kitchen the vessels can come down. So we had to restrict this particular system, and we brought to this particular system. This was the E-test model that we are presenting in front of you. Now in the first case, what happened is that the total load which was transferred over here was transferred through the piles. The diameter of the pile was 1200 millimeters. The depth of the pile was about 18 meters. Accepted. The piling contractor was on the side, and suddenly there was a drastic change. Now let us see what was that change. This is the piling system that we had. We had about load of about 7,920 tons. The design load was about 11,87,000 tons. Number of piles was there. You can see how this system was done as a Rangoli type of system. What happened further is that metro came, and the metro had a tunnel, and this metro's tunnel, which was very close to our building. So they put the first condition that you are not supposed to go for 18 meters. Your piles cannot go for 18 meters. You excavate up to 9 meters and have a shear wall in front of the metro, and then you can do the construction. Once again, the complete soil investigation was carried out to understand what best can be done. So when we carried out different more tests, what we found is that the skin friction was now increased to 20 ton per meter square, and we could trace out the rock at about 9 meters, which was having a SBC of about 500 ton per meter square. But that rock had fissures. So since that rock had fissures, the petrographic part of it was clearly indicating that a lot of fissures were there. So we had to do a survey, we had to do a research type of work where we injected certain grouts to thicken that particular mass so that it becomes a solid mass. So on that particular basis, if you see, this is the tunnel top, this is the ground level, this was the building's bottom, and they said that if our tunnel is going next to you, you are not supposed to go for the piles. So we changed the system. What we did is that we removed the piles completely. We had the shore piles, and to this particular structure, cross section, to this particular structure, to this particular structure, we had the shore piles onto this particular place where the tunnel was there. We excavated the area. We filled this up to 9 meters with plumb concrete. We got our strata. We saw to it that the SBC that was actually also was maintained over there, and we decided to place our building onto this particular part of it where we had a thick raft. You can see we analyzed different types of raft. We had a 3 meters thick raft, and we could see the stress contours, how the stress contours were there. Naturally, these stresses were very high, and since these stresses were exceeding the SBC, we went for 3.5 meter, and finally we landed up with 4 meter thick raft where the complete control of stresses was there. So we had on this particular mass a 4 meter thick raft. After having this 4 meter thick raft, Again, when it went to MMRDA, they said, no, we are not accepting it. Let us understand that if our tunnel is going below you, what is going to happen to the soil? So the soil structure interaction will come into picture. So what we did is that this was our raft, this was the tunnel that is going for metro. We investigated this again. What we did is that we did a meshing over here, and with the help of the meshing, we loaded this particular area. And when we loaded this particular area, for whatever displacements are occurring, we observed that on this particular tunnel, what exactly the maximum displacement is taking place. Idea behind that is that when the tunnel goes below that, it is not going to be damaged, neither the displacement is going to affect our structure. So this was placed in front of them. There were foreigners who were observing this. Then again, we showed them, if your tunnel is there, what is going to happen to your stress levels in that tunnel area also. So this also was brought to their notice. You can see how the curvatures, how the deflections, how the deformations have been indicated over there. Then the effective mean stress, they wanted the effective mean stress, so we worked out for that also. You can see how the stresses were developed and how the stress concentration was taking place at the two edges. Because naturally when you have a vertical shaft of this type, what may happen? So we overcome that and we showed them that this also is effectively acceptable. After doing all these things, after accepting that, there was again a change. This was accepted, the structure was to be constructed. We finished everything, and then once again a change came, and the change was that they said, we are not allowing you that excavation. You now have to put, because their tunnel was at 18 meters, so you put your shear wall, put your piles up to 31 meters, compulsorily. You imagine 31 meters, 1200 millimeter diameter pile was a very difficult job. It is going on now, but you always find that the machine's axle breaks. Then in the internal part of it, they insisted that your slope should be such that it will continuously have a gradual gradient. Now this was the new design that which was accepted. This is how the piling was done. And now you can see this is the metro. This is the metro level, and now they wanted that this should be the shear wall, and there afterwards you have this particular piles in this particular direction. So now at present this is going on, but what we could observe is that because of the criteria of rotation and energy, we could not place the piles over here like this. Only what we are insisting is that this particular piles will be placed up to 31 meters, but these piles will be brought back. So if you observe properly now, huge amount of problems take place in Bombay for redevelopment. Usually when you go for redevelopment, many of the projects get drilled halfway. People really don't know why the projects are getting drilled halfway. They are getting drilled halfway because suddenly you see that the metro line is coming next to you, and if the metro line is coming to you, you have so many formalities to be completed. You have so many checking to be done. Now what happens, for a structural engineer, you need to have a clear-cut knowledge of soil as well as structure, and the parameters have to be placed in such a way that everything should be crystal clear. So this is how a multi-story structure, when we are constructing, the problems that you have to face in high-rise tower. Now with that, I am just showing you one of the high-rise structures which is standing today next to Powai. It's almost on completion. This is about 10 years this work was going on. Why I am showing is that because this particular girder has got a lot of strain gauges that are being injected inside, that have been placed inside, and the loading which has been placed over there, the deformations, the bending, the shear will be measured continuously for years to come. So you know what happens in the high-rise structures, there are many things that are to be looked after by the structural engineer, that if suppose floating column system is there, what is going to happen? What sort of cement you are going to use? What sort of grade of the concrete? Because the grade of the concrete over there is 75. So imagine the control that you have to do for that 75 grade of the concrete. Apart from that, there is a lot of research that is going on for corrosion resistant cement, so that for these high-rise structures, if they don't maintain properly, what may happen? So these are few of our structures which have been constructed and which are in the final stages. You can see this is the day view, this is the night view. This is another structure which is again high-rise, which we are facing problem. This is an Udupi. This has got a sky garden. And in that sky garden, we have 3 stories, which they don't want any column to come, they want only peripheral columns to come over here. And this is again 45 stories. They are constructing this, but there are a lot of problems that are there. So what are the problems? For the high-rise structures, tremendous amount of problems usually come. This is another structure that we have completed in Bangalore. This is another high-rise that we have completed in Padbudri. We are doing huge amount of work across the country. And myself being from teaching side, which was little bit not placed in front of you, I am an ex-principal of engineering college. We are doing work with research. It is not that just blindly we are doing some calculations. We are doing work with research. In this India part of it, we are doing work across the country. This is a team which is there, and with this team, lot of papers have been published nationally as well as internationally for various types of structure, various types of repairs, various types of technology. So with this, thank you very much, because I know it's a mixed type of this thing. It's difficult for a person to explain certain things. Therefore, I will just push to this, and I say thank you for giving